Hello friends, good afternoon. This is Vandanam with Vandanam. Thanks for joining us today. We're here for a live Instagram chat, unscripted, authentic chat between students about Vandanam's mentor and mentee arrangement. I guess is the best. I hate to call it a program, but for a long time had informal mentors and mentees at Vandanam, and over a period of time, I always wanted to formalize it a little bit more, and the pandemic actually just required me to do that. In part because I wanted to give students a way to keep connected with each other while we couldn't be dancing together, not being in the same physical space, but at least they could be in community with each other in a more personal way than we would have been. We were able to be for quite a long time. That was one. Another aspect is to really give students experience in sharing what they know, sharing their experiences, but also really trying to support one of Vandanam's core values, which is around as you are pursuing your journey and your aim for excellence, one aspect is to not do it at the expense of others, but the other aspect is to really support and encourage other people's growth while you're pursuing your own. So that was the second aspect. And then the third aspect was simply a practical one. Again, because we couldn't be in person with each other, I was not able to give the same personal attention that I had been accustomed to individual students. And so this gave me an opportunity for students to still get personal attention from another experienced student so that they could continue on their path forward even if we couldn't be together. And so through that, it still keeps evolving and it keeps changing, but it's been a wonderful growth experience for me and I think for both mentors and mentees as well. So glad that you could join us to listen to these 6 students who have different mentor and mentee experiences, share their thoughts about this, and I will hand it over to them.
Hi everyone. So today, as Shreya mentioned, we are going to be putting the mentors and mentees, some of the mentors and mentees of Vandanam into the Fishbowl, where we'll be asking each other questions and having a conversation so we can share our mentor-mentee experience. So if everybody can introduce themselves with their names, whether you're a mentor or mentee, when you joined, and why you decided to become a mentor or mentee.
Hi, I'm Shreya. I have been TAing for Vandanam classes for the past 4 years, but joined as a mentor in late 2020. And I joined, one, because I wanted to further my dance education in the aspect of being able to teach and help others learn, but also because I wanted to pay forward what I have been receiving from both Acharya and students older than me.
Hi, I'm Sonali. I'm a mentee, and I joined at the beginning of this mentor-mentee arrangement in late 2021, and I joined to help with my dance experience, to grow in my dance journey, as well as form more connections and get clarity on dances or others that I wasn't sure about.
My name is Arjun, and I joined the mentor-mentee program in late 2020, same time as Shreya, just when it started up. And I joined as a mentor, and the reason I did that was because I wanted to have that experience of teaching someone, having to further my own knowledge, finding ways to explain things in different ways, and all of those aspects that come with teaching. And I knew that would benefit my own personal dancing, and I just wanted to just shape young minds too, so yeah.
My name is Maya. I also joined as a mentor in late 2020 when we started. I joined to become a mentor because I really wanted to broaden and enhance my dance experience along with teaching, and as well I wanted to interact with some younger students who I didn't typically see all the time in classes or didn't see for a while.
Hi, my name is Apoorva. I joined as a mentee in late 2020 when the program started. I joined as a mentee because I wanted to help prepare myself for a Sunday dance class, and while doing this I found that I was able to have a bond with a higher class student, which I wasn't able to meet being in lower classes. And then last year I joined as a mentor, and I wanted to join because I really like to teach dancing, or I just really like to teach, and I found that this would be a good opportunity to broaden my dance scope in terms of not just learning, but to be able to correct and teach younger kids too.
Hi, I'm Mahati. I joined the mentor-mentee arrangement in late fall of 2021, and I'm a mentor, and I joined the program because I really enjoy teaching students. I want to see how teaching dance could help improve both my skills of communicating and also dance itself.
All right, so first question. Well, how long have you been a mentor mentee?
Okay, I can start. I've been a mentor for 2 years, I think.
I've been a mentee for 1.5 or 2 years.
I've been a mentor for 2 years.
If it's been 2 years, then 2 years.
I've been a mentee for 2 years, mentor for like 6-ish months now.
Yeah, and I've been a mentor for 6 months.
Happened pretty fast. All right. What is something new you want to bring to your mentor or mentee experience?
That's a hard one. I think something that I want to bring forward as a mentor to my mentor-mentee experience is be able to articulate my thoughts better. I mean, Sonali can probably attest to this as my mentee, but sometimes there are moments when I have to figure out how to explain it first and then do it in a way where it makes sense to whoever I'm menteeing, and I think being able to do that before each session would just make it go smoother, and I think help everyone out a little bit.
For sure, and also like preparing what you want to do with your class before the session, so you're not wasting time during the session.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is kind of planning out what you're going to do, is talk about it before the session actually starts, so you have an idea of which direction it's going to go in, so both the mentor and the mentee can prepare what they're going to do.
Yeah, and like adding on to that, some like bringing consistency into what we do each week, kind of having a plan, continuing with that for as many weeks as you're doing it.
And not only just schedule, but trying to bring a bond to make sure it's not just a session, just to make sure like they understand you're not just a mentor, you're also an akka or anna to them, and they can talk about other things than just dance.
Yeah, like
That's a good point.
like a personal relationship with the mentor-mentee. And sometimes it's hard. I feel like when I first started mentoring, I had some students, and I feel like they were a little intimidated to talk to me, and I think I broke that wall down after a little while.
See, mine was kind of the opposite. I felt like as a mentor, I felt a little intimidated because, I mean, it was up to me to be able to, especially with like my first mentee who was a lot younger, and it was up to me to provide the structure. It felt intimidating to be in charge of something that large, even if it was just for 15 minutes, and I think doing more of that helped make me more comfortable with it.
I definitely agree. I was kind of intimidated by, I feel like you kind of have to know everything, but you don't have to know everything, but sometimes it feels that way because they're counting on you to know the answers to their questions, and if you don't know, sometimes you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah? Okay. What is your favorite part of being a mentor or mentee? And if you have one, what is your least favorite part of being a mentor or mentee?
I'll start with my least favorite. My least favorite part is when I get completely stumped by a question, or I have no clue like how to answer what they're asking.
Yeah.
It's like the worst feeling because I sit there just scratching my head like, what do I say? That's probably my least favorite part about it.
And then sometimes you feel bad too because you're like, they really wanted to know with their practice and help them with their practice, but then you couldn't give them the answer for it.
And a large part of it is also being prepared for class on Sunday, and when you can't answer that, it feels like you let them down a little bit because you're supposed to be able to answer that question.
But I feel like that's my favorite part too. It's like an aspect of something that I've never thought of, and I'm learning from what they're asking too. So that's probably my favorite part with it.
Yeah, and kind of adding on to that, so when I'm like trying to teach in other way, like piece by piece, it's interesting because some of these things that I've been doing for so long, like automatically, when I have to sit there and think about, okay, how do I actually break it down? That's one of my favorite and least favorite parts.
And kind of going off of that, one of my favorite parts is being able to learn from them. So like when they ask questions about a certain aspect of an adabu or something like that, they're like, oh, that's something I haven't actually thought about, and I can now apply to my own dancing that I didn't even think about that before. But they, brought up a great point.
For sure, and like for me as a mentee, I feel like I'm able to take in different corrections from a different perspective, and like different tips and techniques as well.
I think one of my favorite things is that now learning, like my mentee, she's learning right now like Sarikaladevu, and like she's been working on it for a few weeks, and like seeing her being like, oh, like that's how you do it kind of thing, even though I'm not there like with her in person, because putting like hands and feet together, I think it's really nice to see that it finally like clicks for someone.
It's a rewarding experience.
For sure.
And I think even just apart from the dance side, one of my favorite parts is forming the bonds with my mentees, because I mean, they're usually people that I see either only at Vidya with me or like by passing during classes when we like, so there's some time overlap, but now I'm like getting to know people more as a person, not just as someone I dance with.
Yeah, it's like putting personality to the name and putting a face in the name, not just knowing the name.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
In what ways has mentoring or being a mentee affected you personally and in your dance practice?
Ooh, I think I have one for that. So being a mentee for 2 years until I became a mentor, it was hard for me to like, I understood, like this happened in practice all the time when Suchika corrected me in class, that like I would understand what she was trying to say, or my mentor too, but like I couldn't visualize it, like my body knew what to do, like my mind knew what to do, but then my body couldn't like
Figure it out.
figure it out. And so once I was able to see it on another person I was trying to correct, it helped me see like, oh, like this is kind of what I'm doing, and like this is kind of how it looks, and like this is what I could correct on me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's like seeing someone else go through the same issues as you lets you fix your own. Yeah.
Or at the very least, like shows you what you're doing.
Yeah, so you can see it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like even though they're so young, like they're having the exact same issues as you sometimes. It can be like Arimandi, it can be just small little issues. It's just good to see it on someone else.
For sure, and you can help them work through it as well.
I think it's nice that the learning is kind of mutual. Like you can learn from each other, and just like you guys are bringing up, like having that, being able to see what you've been told in somebody else is very helpful for your dance practice. And yeah, my dance practice, there are things that I see on someone like, oh, that is the exact same thing that Suchika just told me, and like a couple weeks ago or whatever, and then I can apply that, and so then it's very beneficial, I think, both ways.
For sure.
I think being both a TA and a mentor for me has not only strengthened my dance practice, but also just outside of dance, it's made me more confident in myself, because getting up in front of a class and leading stretches is really intimidating because everyone's looking at you, but on the other hand, it teaches you that it's okay to make mistakes because no one's really going to judge you, because at the end of the day, you're all learning the same thing. So I feel like that's been really beneficial, but also dance-wise, it's made me more articulative in what I'm trying to say at dance, so it's like being able to explain it to someone helps me understand it better, I feel like, too.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the improvisation part of it, where like you, on the spot, how you try to articulate yourself, and that's something that you try to do like every day in your life, and that's something that's really interesting that I've learned from this experience.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you were saying about that, being kind of like intimidated to lead stretches or whatever in front of the class. But it's very interesting because when we are in the class and you're leading, stretches or something, it's very, I feel like it's, more peer-led, and so you feel a bit more comfortable, I think. Right. Not that, like, I don't feel comfortable when Suchika is doing it, but I think it's just a different level of, familiarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay. What does being a mentor-mentee mean to you? Hard question.
It is a hard question. I think to me,
no, you go ahead, it's okay.
I think to me, it means being there for my mentee as a person that's older and a little bit more experienced in dance, but also as someone they feel comfortable talking to about issues either like in dance or outside of dance, or just someone they feel is a friend that's just there for them. And like they don't have to be worried to talk to me about anything, even if it's not dance related.
Being a mentee, I feel like you create a bond with your mentor, and then it's not just through dance, like what Shreya was saying, it's like for anything, if you need anything.
Yeah, I feel like being a mentor increases the strength of the family bonds in the Kalavandana family. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. There's so many aspects to it. So like what you two have said so far about like, yeah, every single aspect, it's just strengthening the family bond. And I feel like it gives some people like beacons to look up to, so they can go to them for issues outside of dance, in dance, all those things. So that makes it more like a family. I think that's what being a mentor is to me.
And I think also whether it be challenges or like really good moments, both of those things, you know, cohesively help with, you know, building the bonds. It doesn't always have to be all the good stuff. There can also be difficulties and challenges that you face that still build like your own character, build their character, as well as everyone, you know, coming together and being having that level of understanding as well.
And I think the one thing that has made this family so strong, like I know a bunch of the older classes, the young classes have their own groups. The bonding between like these classes are so strong, and now that we're creating the bond between the higher classes and the lower classes, so then we can both meet each other, that just makes the family so much more stronger.
Yep.
It's like connecting already strong bonds. So just everyone's connectedness.
Yeah, so you feel kind of like part of a helping system, I guess, within our family when you're part of the mentor-mentee program. And I guess that's what it means the most to me, is being part of something that I can gain and give back.
Yeah. Another situation for me was like the family idea came to me in 2019. I remember this very specific experience for me at Natasana. There we go. At Natasana, I did not know like any of the younger classes, like no faces, just names, and even the names I just had seen through newsletters and things like that. And that was such a weird experience for me. So after recognizing that disconnect, I had that want to build these family bonds, like that type of thing. That I feel like, again, that's what it means to be a mentor.
Yeah, and that plus like that distance, that, you know, that period of time where we didn't really see anybody because we're all distant, and then we did Devi Divyadayani, which, you know, we didn't really see any of them. So it was, you know, a couple years. And then this past Natya Sadhana, like we saw everybody again, and it was much more, I think like coming back together was, you know, a big thing. And then also just, you know, having that bond that's already been established between individuals, that just made it like a whole lot more fun also, just being there.
I guess like the past Natya was, you could see like the result of all of the different things we've been trying over quarantine time, like the mentor-mentee program, and the effects of how that brought everyone closer.
There's a couple of audience questions. First, how have you applied your experience from this to outside of dance, and where and how?
So for me, I'm a tabla teacher also. And teaching tabla was its own completely different challenge on its own. But so that was like a group setting, okay? I had a bunch of students at the same time, and through COVID, all those things, online classes, it was weird times. But having a one-on-one session with someone younger than you, it really, again, it teaches you how to spell things out. Because in a group class, I feel like people are just afraid to ask questions because they'll feel like
they're wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong. So I have to find a way to explain things, or like make it open to questions. So that's one thing that being a one-on-one mentor has really helped me with, is understanding that I'm going too fast, understanding that I might not be making sense. Because I had like a really weird experience once. I was teaching tabla, and I was like, so this is like a polyrhythm, okay? It's 4 divided by 3. And one of my students just goes, I don't know division. And I was like, oh, I can't explain it like that. So it's one of those things where I have to find a way to explain it for them, and mentoring has really helped me with that, because of the one-on-one setting.
I think like being able to understand that you're wrong, or like you're wrong, but you're not making much sense is really important. And on the other hand, it's taught me to be more patient with both myself and my mentee, because if I'm explaining it incorrectly, then obviously they're not going to understand it, and that's not their fault. It's like, and so being able to understand that has just made me much more patient, I think, in a lot of aspects, even if it's like dealing with my younger cousins. Like I've been able to understand that we're not on the same level yet, which is okay because they're like 12 years younger than me, and being able to create that patient environment where they feel like they can ask questions, like Arjun was saying, I feel has been really important to me through the mentor-mentee program.
But in a similar way, it doesn't necessarily have to be people younger than you.
Right.
Like for me, in some of my classes, sometimes I get stuck explaining AP Chem to my classmates, and it's like it's the same kind of situation. It's like talking to someone younger than you, but then you have to figure out how to modify your language. 'Cause
Right.
I've mentored different age groups too, and I have to modify my language through that. That's
Yep.
one thing I've learned through mentoring. Yeah.
That idea of communication, but even like when you're doing, even when you're like, you know, setting up mentor-mentee sessions and you're just, you know, emailing or texting each other and trying to find a time, that open communication and being able to communicate with each other, I found really important, like outside, like in school, communicating with teachers or peers or group projects or, you know, other activities that we're a part of. So that communication, like I've learned to build that up stronger also. So, you know, whether it's replying or it's, you know, trying to find some common time to, you know, do the session, or whether they have a question about something, how do you describe it without, you know, directly talking to them? So,
And kind of like that, another thing that I've learned, I guess, is balancing, like, as a teacher, both discipline but also like being flexible and open. So that's something that you see a lot in like school, that people have to figure out how to be there for someone as a mentor or a friend, but at the same time you set your boundaries, and I guess it's something that's really important that you learn through being a mentor.
And I think from like a mentor, like I can say the same thing as you, but then a mentee, like it was hard at first to like tell my mentor, like, I don't actually understand what you're saying. Like, I need like more explanation. Like, you're almost like scared to tell them because like you feel like you're supposed to be set to a standard if you have like some kind of mentor. And like at the end of the day, all of us like mentor mentees, we become mentees in like the real world too. So it gives us the opportunity to like have more confidence to like raise our hand in like class and like anything and just be like, I don't actually understand what you're saying. Please explain it to me in like a different way, or like
Getting more clarity on that. I feel like also being a mentee, you have to be more prepared for your classes, knowing like what you want to do and what you're struggling with to work on. And then I feel like you can apply that as well as in school, being prepared for like your classes as well.
all right.
Another audience question. What has been the biggest benefit you've received from this program, if there's something outside of what you've already talked about?
I feel like a lot of what I feel like a lot of it's been said, personally at least.
But to put a blanket statement or word over it, for me it's communication. Just, you know, in all communication.
Yeah, and that interdependence also, I think, like we talked about before, having that ability to communicate, but then also, you know, being able to learn from each other has been super helpful and really enjoyable also.
For me, I think it was just like the growth of myself and just also creating that bond again with my mentor.
I think bonds have been a very big part of it for me, is meeting people that I don't normally see at all, just because I come to class in the morning and they're in the like evening, I'm gone by then. So.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this, but what is one main thing you've learned from being a mentor or mentee? If there's anything else.
I mean, yeah, just communication, articulation has been big for me.
Different lenses. It's like perspective. That's just one thing. Seeing something through different eyes. Sorry.
Yeah, and just like also advocating for like what you want to work on.
Another audience question. What is your greatest strength that you individually bring to the mentor-mentee relationship?
I mean, I think Sonali would have to test for this for me as my mentee, but I think that I at least I hope I create an environment as a because I don't think I'm a super intimidating person.
No, you're not.
Okay, good. So I hope that like I'm creating a space where Sonali or whoever my mentee is feels comfortable to ask questions and is like understands that it's okay to not know everything because you're not expected to.
Yeah, you do bring that.
Okay, I'm glad.
And kind of like that, so my younger sister also dances, and that's a big part of it for me because she learns a lot watching me. I learn a lot watching her and helping her, and I think that experience from like such a young age really helps me be a good mentor for whoever I mentor.
I think the one thing I'm able to bring is comfort. I personally, I really love to teach. I had a job last year teaching, at an art studio. I literally love kids a lot, and dance is one of my most favorite things to do. And I think just combining the two together, it's not serious in any way. I feel like I can be able to create a comfortable way to teach. There's no bumpiness.
It's not scary for people. Yeah.
I don't know if this qualifies as a strength particularly, but I have enthusiasm to be able to work with these students, and so I think that kind of amplifies, creating an environment that they're comfortable in, or having open communication and things like that.
I think it's definitely a strength.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the strength would be patience. With younger students, I've learned to pick up on patience. Just sometimes it takes a little while for them to understand. Sometimes it takes a little while for them to say what they want to say so that I can understand. So it's just patience in general. I think that's a big strength for me.
For me, I think a big strength I'd bring would be bringing my all into it to every class and making sure I feel 100% prepared, so I'm able to take in any corrections and just trying new things as well.
Absolutely. You do that.
What is your biggest accomplishment as a mentee or a mentor, that you've experienced?
I feel like my biggest accomplishment is a series of small accomplishments. So just small moments in class where you see I think Apoorva talked about this before, where you see for them and how it works, and every time you see that, I guess it's an added bonus to. It's I guess validation for the work that you're putting in, and I think a collection of all of that is my biggest accomplishment.
I think for me, my biggest accomplishment was going to Vijayadashmi and seeing all the things we've been working on just come to fruition on stage. And I just had the biggest grin on my face watching my mentees. It made me really happy. So I felt really accomplished after that.
There's a sense of pride, I think.
Yeah.
You're oh, I'm so proud. I've been working
with them for so long. You get
so
invested in it.
Exactly. You're working with them for so long, and you have this bond that when you see them and they're putting their best foot forward, you're proud of them. This might be our last one. Oh, this is a good one. Funniest or most memorable story or experience as a mentor or mentee?
This isn't necessarily funny, but it's definitely memorable. Is with one of my first mentees, we were working, I think, on Samhita Hastas, and there were just these two that for some reason wasn't clicking. It might have been Shankar and Shankara, they were just getting confused, and it took us a couple weeks to at least for me to be able to understand why we're not getting past it and how to explain it better. And I think when we did the entire slocum once, and she got through it without stumbling, and I felt really accomplished because that was my work that I was seeing, and she felt accomplished because she was able to do it without messing up, and I feel like that was the most memorable for me.
The funniest moment I think I have, it's continuing to happen, is I have really bad Wi-Fi. So 95% of the time, anything I say just does not make sense. It's glitchy. So it's a bit of a struggle. A 15-minute session, 5 minutes of that is just what was that? Can you say that again? What was that? So that's ongoing to this day.
Yeah, I think one of the funniest parts is operating on Zoom. And it's a really big situation. I think I taught a whole out of it reflected because my Zoom image was flipped on her screen, and I was doing it mirror image. So when I was not, she saw it the other way, and I was so confused because that's something that usually doesn't happen, the side confusion. That's probably one of the funniest.
Yeah, recently I've been starting with raise your right hand and then raise your right hands, and I'm okay. So
and
now
then you understand where the coordination.
I think I'm just noticing sometimes especially during distance learning, some of the things that we notice Suchiyaka doing to be oh, is this your right side, or can you hear me, can you see me? I'm noticing that I'm doing some of the same things.
Oh, I do have one funny moment. I think this happened with Sonali actually. I was recording a bio presentation on Zoom, so we had all these like wacky filters on, like mustaches, hats, and everything, and I forgot to take it off, so it's automatically set to the next meeting, and the next meeting was my one-on-one with Sonali, and I show up with like a huge gold chain and mustache. I was like, this is not me, I promise. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, or sometimes like we'll be talking about something and they'll say, oh, I don't know the hands for this yet, or I don't know the feet for this yet. I'll be like, okay, and then, like 2 minutes later, I'm like, oh, do you not know the hands for this? Like, I completely brain fart. I'm like, you told me this 2 minutes ago, but I completely forgot.
Yeah.
I think no, you did tell me that.
I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or it's just like, I don't know what happened, but I was doing Bhaskar with my mentee, and she all of a sudden, she's zooming around in her room. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then I realized that for the past 30 seconds, she's just she's been going super slow. And it was the thing, it matched up with my shoulder kattu. And then all of a sudden it zoomed up. I was like, when did we switch to third speed? And then she's like, I couldn't hear you for the past 30 seconds. And I was like, okay.
What is one main challenge that you've had as a mentor-mentee?
I think I started off with this. It was communication, again. Getting something to make sense for a younger person, or, someone who doesn't know the topic yet. It's very hard to put that into words.
I think also, although there was convenience with having it over Zoom or FaceTime, I think it was harder to, learn and correct the mentor or mentee, on FaceTime, just because it's not in person. It's not the same experience.
I think also on the flip side of Arjun's, for me, the biggest challenge for me was to be able to understand it, not to a level where I could do it, but to the level where I could explain it to someone else.
Yeah, and you have to sometimes think about it in many, many different ways, because your first attempt at explaining doesn't always go through. So I think always trying to think of different ways that would help both you understand what you're saying better and what your mentee wants.
I think one main challenge for me. Oh no. Okay, I'm brain dead.
That was also a big challenge for me. I kept forgetting what I wanted to say, and then I'd have to recollect my thoughts.
I think in the beginning, having the confidence to kind of be the person who is, especially for some of the younger students, they're waiting for you for direction. Mm-hmm. So having the confidence to be able to be okay, I can do this, and I have the ability to do this, but having that confidence to actually, take charge.
I think that was kind of my thing, because I was a mentor and then I was a mentee, then I became a mentor. It was the way I did it with my mentor was different. We had a totally different class. I would send videos instead of sit on FaceTime, because I was at the level of where I could just send a whole dance and then she would correct my dance based on that piece. But then I couldn't do that with my mentee, so then I had to figure out what works every week, especially because I didn't have an experience of I didn't really know what to do. Right. So the first class, it was kind of just what works, what is going to be the everyday kind of, or every week 15-minute kind of session.
Yeah, I think also in the beginning, how do I do this? What format works best for each person? People learn in different ways, so being able to understand them and how they handle certain situations and handle learning and all that kind of stuff, is you have to figure that out, and then how do you work in a way that's beneficial to both of you, in the time that you have and with the skill set that you have.
That's both of you were saying something teaching across age groups. For you at that higher level, you didn't need a 15-minute one-on-one session in the same way. So for me, I have different age groups, and like you said, it's completely different with each age group. I have to understand how they want to be taught and how they want to be, how they want their experience to be. So I just,
Okay, I think that sums it up. So thank you everybody for participating today, and thank you for everybody who is watching right now. We're very happy to mark that this year is Kalavandanam's 20th anniversary here in 2022. And as a part of our celebration, we hope that you'll join us for more live Instagram chats like this, including next Saturday when we put Suchiyaka in the hot seat. You can see that at Kalavandanam on Instagram. For more details. And along with this, in celebration for International Dance Day coming up on April 29th, we hope you'll come together with us as a Natyam Nation, and you can check out more details at #Natyam Nation on Instagram, as well as at kalavandanam.com/Natyam Nation 2022. Thank you.